because I do feel like we do everything in trilogies.
Spent all day watching DPRK propaganda films.
I feel like we should put a pin in this before we move on to all the other things.
Well, this is a short statement because you're wrong.
Well, hold on.
I'm not sold.
For those that don't know, this is about that. I've been obsessed, and people who listen to the show regularly know this.
North Korea.
I've been obsessed with North Korea.
Yeah.
Thinking that there might be, not saying that there definitely is, thinking that there might be something to the idea of North Korea that maybe we're missing.
So I watched the documentary that convinced you. I am not convinced.
You did watch the documentary that convinced me. That was the one that sold me on it.
It is not like selling me. In fact, I mean, they tried to paint a pretty picture, but like even in their own statements, they said that it's not as beautiful as it is.
I feel like the guy that made the documentary is called The Propaganda Game for those who might want to see it. And I think the guy that made it did not have an agenda.
No.
He seemed to me as he was trying to capture things as they were.
Right. Yes. He did a fair job of just allowing the North Koreans to spiel what they wanted to spiel, and he presented it in a fair way for what their agenda was.
Here's my question: is it possible, after you watched multiple North Korea documentaries now, that you've seen what I've seen? Is it possible that the horrible picture that's been painted of them could be as inaccurate as the picture that they try to paint inside their country when you go to visit there?
No, I'm pretty sure they're hiding a lot of fucking shit and they sold their soul to China.
But you don't think that there's like a chance that like it's like a gray area? Like, I get it. They're not, what I'm saying is like the most perfect communist world, but also they're not the worst thing that ever happened in the entire world of society and oppression.
No, I'm pretty sure most of what we hear is probably true. They seem to be putting on a good face, and you're not, every documentary is filmed in Pyongyang. You're not allowed out of the city. No cameras outside of it. So between that, the Spaniard, the guy who was the star of that propaganda game.
Yeah, there was a guy from Spain who moved to North Korea and became their PR rep, essentially.
Well, to the outside world. He even stated that there's a class system of like true believers, questionables, and non-believers who are all giving different pass cards, different debit cards that allow them to do things.
Well, you're broken down because everything is free in North Korea. So you get housing, you get food.
Not to everybody.
No, but even though the poor people get a ration. But I'm saying, like, if you're going to do a class system, let's say that the top tier gets 800 ounces of rice a week.
Well, they get the nice apartments, the nice clothes with the colors, and they get to have like what you would consider normal jobs. Then the questionable people that are not so like gung ho, but they're still in on it. They get like the decent, or like they're the garbage men, or the body removal people. And then the people who do not like the government are the ones who build the roads and move the rocks from this side to that side. And they all wear gray and are kept out of the camera's view.
But all of them, no matter which tier you're on, you get housing. You get food rations, you get education, you get healthcare free.
But you're arguing quality of living. Like, you're saying it's a good place to live. People are happy there. No, there's a very select like upper tier that is happy.
I'm saying I don't think that you have enough evidence to say with 100%. There's not enough evidence for you to say that there is this giant. I didn't see anything that would lead me to believe that it's this giant horrible thing.
You're also saying that it's the greatest place on the world next to Disneyland with very little evidence.
Prometheus, I'm not saying that, okay? I'm saying that there is a chance that they pulled off the coup.
No, that is not what happened.
All right.
Plus, they sold their soul to some country in this world, be it Russia, be it China, be it...
Well, they have to get money from somewhere, and that is fascinating to me because if you think of it, they don't have any... There's no resources, right? They don't produce anything?
No. What it is they have the fourth largest standing army in the world. People.
No shit?
Yes.
Even so it's like China, the United States, something...
I don't think U.S. is in there. I think it's like... China, Russia.
So you think North Korea has a bigger standing army than the United States?
Yeah, definitely.
It's pretty badass, bro.
It's mandatory military. Out of the 235 million people there,
well, they have 24 million, but yeah.
235.
No, they have 24 million people in North Korea.
Well, that's not what the documentary we watched said. So I'm going off their numbers. 235 is what they said. Because I remember I made a whole argument against your fucking pro-Korea thing. You remember how I wasn't talking and like raising like giggles during the film? I was paying attention to it.
Well, I knew you were watching. Well, that's why I wanted your perspective.
Well, I saved it. I made notes in my mind and saved it. They sold their army. So when China revolts against anybody, I think it's China. I want to say it's China.
I know that, yeah, 24 million people in North Korea.
Okay, so they have 235 million soldiers somehow. It's magic.
Okay.
Or they're really bad at math. I don't know.
Some of that North Korean math.
Anyway, they have sold the fourth largest standing army in the world to a country to bid or to buy money or to have supplies. So in the case of China going like, hey, America's doing some crazy shit, we're going to go to war.
Yeah.
North Korea is automatically signed up because they're indentured servitude to another country for the goods and services they need. Like in the documentary, they were talking about how like, oh, look at all the new facilities. Look at all our new computers.
Oh, yeah.
And he's like,
that they got through the blockade. They're tricked to get through the blockade.
It's easy to get past the blockade. It's a secret. We don't tell anybody how we do it. And we don't tell people where this shit comes from. It comes from fucking China. They're attached to the nipple of China.
Well, a lot of people do. I mean, Russia's attached to the nipple of China as well.
Yeah.
So a lot of people who get on the China teat. I feel like there's people who are on the United States teat, and there are people who are on the China teat. And it depends on where you're at in the world. Well, and then there's other people who are on like us. We are on essentially the Middle East oil teat. That is our teat.
Well, but there's three major powers in the world that I see.
I wonder how many times I'm saying teat.
The U.S., Russia, and China. And we all have our different alliances. We all have our different funnels. And those are the three powers vying for what is going to happen in the future.
Yeah.
And North Korea has sworn allegiance to one of them. That is probably not the U.S. unless it's the greatest
no, it's definitely China.
Shell game.
It's definitely China. And the reason it's China is because China does like need North Korea for their nukes, like that they have. Like cause
all,
they want to.
All seven of them.
Japan does not, or not, China does not like Japan. You know, like China has always wanted to keep Japan in check. And so they want the idea of a nuclear power that if they needed to say like, hey, go ahead and fucking bomb the shit out of Japan. I don't know why China hates Japan. But they have this whole thing about hating Japan.
Well, Japan's independent.
Yeah, but Japan's also like, compared to China, an ant. You know, why does it fucking matter? They're just a little bitty ant.
Because they fight.
But they have Sony, so maybe they have a lot of huge economic power.
They fight to the death is the thing. Because it all boils down to, I don't care what kind of technology you have, this and that. It's a matter of how hard you want to fight in the end. Because at some point, your will break. At some point, your soldiers will turn against you.
Yeah.
And Japan doesn't. Japan will fight to the death.
To wrap it up, in your opinion...
You're crazy. North Korea's full of shit. It's a horrible place. They're starving and murdering their people.